parties, our kids' birthday parties, Father's Day, Super Bowls, sporadic football games because they were big Pittsburgh Steeler fans. So, and we're from San Diego, so Chargers fans. If
Right.
they ever played, we were together for that game. They would have parties at their house for Steelers parties, and we'd go over and watch the game with them, and just random barbecues throughout the summer.
So your initial contact was through work, though.
Absolutely.
And what about you, Jennifer? How did you know them?
Through Jeremy. He met them both at work, and he said, hey, there's this nice couple, and they just moved out here, and they don't have any family, and we should go out to dinner with them and hang out. And then after that, we just started hanging out with them regularly. And
So I kind of want to go back and forth between the two of you because I really want to set the stage. There's a whole lot of documentation on the story. And in the documentation of the story, there is kind of a common theme, really, that most people didn't think this guy was capable of this.
No, absolutely not.
So I kind of want to get your perspective, when you first met him, kind of when you first got to know the guy and so on and so forth, and know Shanann, because part of this story is, and you'd said it before, a little bit, most people think that you knew him first, but you actually knew Shanann better.
Yes.
So I kind of want to get that perspective on this. So I want you both, we'll start with you, kind of how you knew him first, and then I want to get your perspective on what you thought of both Chris and Shanann.
Shanann was very detail-oriented, very OCD in a way, right? Chris was mow the lawn, clean out the garage. It was a very old-school, traditional family value in their house. Chris was a mechanic. Shanann was a mother, right? Like, very traditional along a lot of those. I told her one day at work, hey, I want to meet with you every Monday at 1 o'clock. Let's go through your customers. Let's see what I can help you with. Let's see what I can do. She would show up in my office, whether I was ready or not, with her phone. My alarm went off.
Yeah.
She would hold me accountable for our meetings. And Chris was meticulous with everything. That kid was one of the best mechanics I've ever seen fixing cars. He had a passion for what he did fixing cars at the store as a service guy. One day for his birthday, she bought him a Subaru.
The first sound anyone remembers is not a scream. It is a knock, measured, polite, almost hesitant. A police officer standing at the door of a quiet Colorado home, unaware that inside this house, an entire family has already been erased. The man who opens that door appears calm, cooperative, and strangely composed. His name is Chris Watts, and within days, the image he presents will shatter into something far more disturbing. Years later, behind reinforced glass and locked steel doors, that same man chooses to speak again. Not under interrogation, not under threat, but by choice. In prison interviews and recorded statements, Chris Watts breaks a silence that once protected him. What he says now is not shouted. It is not emotional. It is delivered in the same flat, controlled cadence that once convinced the world he was a worried husband. And that is what makes it terrifying. Because when Watts speaks from prison, he does not sound haunted. He sounds analytical, detached, as if describing someone else's crime. He revisits moments that destroyed lives with unsettling calm, offering explanations that feel incomplete, rehearsed, and sometimes self-serving. Each word invites a deeper question, not just about what happened, but about who he was long before the murders. This is not a story about a confession. It is a story about what confession cannot fix, about a man who constructed a version of himself so convincing that even those closest to him never saw the cracks. A man who now claims clarity, faith, and remorse, while the truth remains fractured. As this prison interview unfolds, it forces us to confront an uncomfortable reality. Some killers are not driven by rage or chaos, but by silence, suppression, and emotional vacancy. And when they finally speak, they don't reveal answers. They reveal how carefully they hid them. Before we go further into what Chris Watts says now, it's important to understand who he was then, and how a seemingly invisible man became one of the most disturbing figures in modern true crime. If you want to continue unraveling the psychology, the lies, and the silence surrounding this case, make sure you like this video, subscribe to Shadow of Deceit, and turn on notifications. Because what comes next exposes the man behind the mask and the warning signs no one saw. Long before his name became synonymous with betrayal, Chris Watts lived a life defined by invisibility. He was not loud. He was not dominant. He did not draw attention to himself. Friends and co-workers described him as dependable, quiet, almost painfully ordinary. He worked long hours, followed routines, avoided conflict, and rarely expressed strong emotion. In many ways, he was the kind of man people stop noticing because he never gives them a reason to look closer.
It would have been like, like a light switch in my head goes off, light switch in her head goes off, maybe it just like goes different directions.
Now, during Nicole Kessinger's interview, when she was asked about what she did on Sunday and what Chris did on Sunday, she had a great deal of trouble remembering anything that either of them did on Sunday. And what did they do between the hours of like 9 p.m. and 11 p.m.? Well, forget about it, because that's when they had the 111-minute phone call, and she could barely remember a damn thing. And this theme of her not remembering what they talked about in that phone call or what she did on that day went throughout all of her 5 interviews. The same with Chris Watts. He doesn't know what they talked about. He don't remember. Listen to what Nicole Kessinger has to say.
6 or 7.
Do you know what he did Sunday during the day?
I don't even know what I did on Sunday during the day. I am so tired. Let me just think about this. Daniel came over Friday. I hung out with him Saturday. And then Sunday...
When did Jim come in?
Monday.
Huh.
Jim got here Monday. What did I do on Sunday? I am like drawing a blank. I'm really tired. I don't know. Can I get back to you on that?
Did you guys have any conversations on Saturday night during your meal, what he might be doing on Sunday?
I'm sure we did. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank because I haven't slept.
If I say that he may have done something with his children, would that refresh
Oh, yes.
your memory?
He went to a birthday party.
Okay. Did you know whose house he was going to?
Nope. But I know that they had a water balloon fight.
Okay. He had one, or his children?
His children did.
Okay.
He said he used to get really into it. He said he got like really interactive with his kids. He's like, some of the adults don't really spend a lot of time playing with the kids, but
You
I
went
always
to the
do.
museum on what day, Saturday or Sunday?
Sunday.
Okay.
That's right. So that's what I was like, was I hanging out with you? God.
Very memorable event, huh?
We,
was,
me and him and my stepmother and my
wife,
sister
yeah.
went to the museum, and
What
that's
museum?
right, the Denver Museum of Nature and Science. And they went to brunch prior to that, and I skipped brunch, and I went to the gym.
You shouldn't have, it was good.
I had to do core day. That was the last time I worked out, actually.
That's
so
what we did Sunday, okay.
Yeah, so core day, and then we went to the museum, and then
When did he tell you about the water balloon fight on Sunday evening during your conversation on the phone?
I think so.
Okay. So
think
you don't know whose house he went to on Sunday,
No.
but you knew it was for a child's birthday?
Yeah, and he had told me about that in advance, really, so I don't know if it was Saturday that he had told me that he was going to go that birthday, or like Friday. I just remember he was like, I gotta go to this birthday party.
Okay.
And in Chris Watts' interview, he mentions this really sad little anecdote about the girl's experience of the birthday party at the Lindstroms on Sunday. And the Lindstroms talk about it in their interview too. So you're going to hear that. And he talks about how his daughter Cece had an alleged tree nut allergy. So they wouldn't allow Bella to eat things that Cece couldn't eat. So when it was time for all of the kids at the birthday party to enjoy some of the birthday cake, he had to say no cake for Bella. Poor little thing.
We were at that birthday party at Jeremy's that Sunday. They had this cake there. Like Bella wanted it so bad. I'm like, can't give it to her because she can't have it. She was like, okay. And all the other kids were like, they can't have the cake. But like, I just kind of took them off and gave them some like one of those frozen pops or something. But
So weird. He couldn't let them have cake because of Cece's alleged tree nut allergy, but then a few hours later, he takes their lives. This case is just so freaking weird. So without further ado, let's listen to that interview from Truth Talks Media. I linked the channel's URL in the description below. Go give them some love. He does some really great interviews and has some different kind of content. You'll definitely want to check out the channel. And I'm also going to be giving you a little bit of commentary throughout this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to read your comments down below. Your time with them.
I have Jennifer and Jeremy Lindstrom here with us tonight, and we're going to be talking about the Chris Watts story. You guys have intimate details. Potentially the last person to actually see Chris and the girls alive. Is that correct?
Yes.
We want to kind of go into your aspect of the story, and as it's told in a first person, there's a whole lot of information and detail that you guys have, some of which I don't think has actually been shared before. And so we want to kind of dive into this story. Obviously, the anniversary is coming up. It's been a big story around the country, and a lot of people are really interested in it. So we are very appreciative that you guys are here to actually hear this story firsthand from the people that actually probably saw them last. So introduce yourself.
I'm Jeremy Lindstrom.
And how do you know the what?
I know them because I worked with both of them.
Okay, go into a little bit of that for me. Worked with them as in how? What was your relationship?
Chris was a very good mechanic, master technician. Shanann was a salesperson at the dealership I was at. Met them there. They don't have family that live in Colorado, neither do we. So we kind of struck off a little bit of a family friendship. They would come over to our house for birthday party, charger for his Mustang. Like, would you think anything different? No. She knew what he loved. He knew what she loved. It worked, right? Everything worked.
Shannann's relationship, and in their opinion, they were very good for one another, that their personalities and their tendencies really complemented each other in the relationship, and it worked quite well. And then they go into talking about, well, the same thing that everybody who knew Chris said. They just couldn't believe he was capable of committing such a horrific crime. But unfortunately, he did.
He is a hardworking kid. Anything she said to do, he would do it. 100% of the time. Hey, my parents are going to move out here. You're going to fly out to the East Coast, and you're driving the moving truck back, and they're going to fly home. He's like, I'm good with that. I'll drive the truck so they can fly home. They don't have to ride in the truck, right? This is the kid that did this. So there's no way, shape, or form would I ever believe this could happen.
Well, there's certainly a consensus with a lot of the stuff that's out there that is a very accurate description from a lot
100%.
of people. How did you feel about the two?
Pretty much the same. Like, Shanann was always, like, from the moment I met her, she was always super outgoing and super friendly. She wanted to, you know, when we first met her, she didn't have any kids yet, and she was, but you could tell that they really wanted to have kids, and she was really interested in, you know, our girls and what, you know, what they liked, and wanted to spend time with them. And then she got pregnant with her oldest, Bella, and you could tell that was, you know, always her dream, is to have kids. And
Exciting moment.
yes,
Nothing seemed odd.
Well, she wasn't even sure she could have kids, right?
they did have, I know, some fertility problems with the first two, and
That she discussed with you?
yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, she just always really wanted to be a mom, and she loved, like, when she was pregnant, she would always be excited about, oh, I'm, you know, decorating the baby's nursery, and this is the theme I chose, and I got all the clothes ready, and they're all washed and hung up, but I'm only 4 months pregnant, and
So very type A, like Jeremy just
absolutely.
described.
yeah, very
Absolutely.
organized, and just always, like, ready to go. Like, what's the next thing? And, you know, she just always had something going on that she could really dive into and be involved in, and just
And consistently that way every time you met him.
oh yeah,
100%.
absolutely.
So tell me how often that you guys did get together. I know we talked about some football games and some parties, which we're going to get to the one party, which was the night before. But prior to that, did you hang out on a pretty regular basis?
Regular as in maybe 6-8 times a year,
Okay.
depending on stuff. If I ever invited them to something, they showed up.
Yeah.
It's just, if they invited us to something, we showed up. It was just how we lived, what, 2 miles from each other?
So she worked with you. Did you develop a relationship with him
yes and no.
Well, you know,
right?
when you go to parties a lot of times and you're hanging out, the men will kind of go over to one side, women will kind of do their thing.
Yeah.
Were you with him one-on-one a lot?
No,
Not so much.
no, he would come over, and his main goal was my food. Whatever I barbecued, whatever I smoked up, whatever I cooked, whatever we put out, he was like, I'm coming over because I know there's food,
Right.
right? But he spent a lot of time with the kids.
Yes.
Shanann was more, hey, how can I help clean? What can I cook? What can I do? She needed to be involved in the party, right? Chris was involved in the kids and making sure they were taken care of, they were okay, right? Like, that's just how it always happened. Hey, they wouldn't leave. Shanann's like, I want to help clean the kitchen. I want to help put the dishes away. I want to do this. Like, that was normal. As normal as could be with really good friends.
Consistently every time, too.
100%.
100%. So there was nothing early on where you were like, wow, this is an interesting type of dynamic relationship. It was actually one of those just really good old-fashioned school relationships.
No, this was a relationship that people would probably wish for. With what she demanded in life and his acceptable personality, fit.
Which is really interesting because it sets up a story that's almost unfathomable anyway, and we're going to get to that because we've talked off camera about this before, and this is what makes the story so intriguing to me, because it is very difficult to place, and we're going to ask you a lot of those questions because I know you feel the same way. So leading up to that night, I want to jump right into the night before. They're at your house.
Birthday.
The birthday. Describe that party. That's the night before.
Extremely normal. We invited Chris because we knew Shanann was out of town. They talked, and we knew she wasn't going to be there.
Now, she was in Arizona.
Yes.
Yes.
Did you talk to her while she was in Arizona?
No, I did not, but my daughter did because she had actually babysat the girls the night before the birthday party.
Correct.
Okay, so here they talk about how their daughter McKenna babysat Bella and Celeste on the night of August 11th when Chris was out on that date with Nicole Kessinger at the Lazy Dog Cafe. And then on that Sunday, August 12th, Chris attended the birthday party for their child with both Bella and Celeste. I think this is extremely interesting stuff, personally. Let me know what you think.
So Chris could go to a
Baseball game.
alleged baseball game.
Right.
Which I invited him to the Broncos game because I received tickets. And he told me he couldn't go because his work would be mad if he didn't use the tickets.
And this was the night before, the
Yeah.
party.
Yes.
Yeah, this was literally Saturday night.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Sunday was the
let's just
party.
start there. So the night before your party, you had invited him to the Bronco game.
I invited him a few days earlier, and that's when he texted me back, oh, I can't go. I got tickets to the Rockies game, and
I need
if
a
I don't use
babysitter.
them, my work's going to be mad that I didn't use them. And I get that because that's 100% normal conversation. Because if my work gave me their season tickets for the Broncos and they saw they didn't get scanned in, somehow they know.
Yeah.
They know they didn't get used. Or if they find out they didn't get used, you're never getting tickets again.
Yeah.
So we know in hindsight, though, that he had taken this mistress
Yes.
to the game.
Right.
But you did not know that.
No.
Your friends, but did they have any other friends that they were really, really close to that they did a lot of things with?
The Thrive friends, but we didn't know any of them. But I heard Shanann would talk about them.
But you guys had never heard any marital problems. Neither one of them had
No.
discussed any of that.
None of the marital, none of the financial, none of any of that.
On the surface, it's just like, this is the perfect family.
Yes.
Okay. So again, hindsight, we find this out. But you invite him. He says he's going to go to this game.
Normal excuse, normal everything. I don't think anything, I have zero radar of this kid ever lying to me. Zero radar, right?
Yeah.
And so when he said, oh, the work's going to get mad if I don't use these tickets, I get it.
Right.
I've been there. I
Makes
understand
sense.
that. Makes 100% sense. And I invited him because I thought I remembered him saying one time he'd never actually been to a live NFL game. So I was like, I thought of him right out of the gate. I'm like, why not? I know that she's out of town. And before she had went to even before she went to North Carolina, she's like, hey, make sure you call him and hang out with him. I don't want him doing anything dumb while I'm gone.
In North Carolina, that was prior to.
That was, what, 5 weeks before?
Maybe, yeah,
Okay.
at like more towards the beginning of the summer.
Right.
She had,
Did we think it was weird she was leaving for 5 weeks with the kids to North Carolina? Sure.
yeah.
Yes.
But Shanann's personality didn't lead down any paths of marital issues or anything, right?
Well, this is why we're getting your story, because you guys have a really interesting perspective on the story. Because again, knowing people, being friends. Now, there's a lot of times in relationships people don't tell their personal stuff, right?
Sure.
But it was odd that she had left. But still, in your mind, because you'd seen them interact so well together, the 5 weeks is just 5 weeks. You thought maybe
Yeah.
she's type A, she's going to go do whatever she's going to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay. Get me to the party the night before.
My
party.
son's birthday party.
Yes.
He came over like they have for the last 4 years, right? Mm-hmm. They came over, he shows up, he's got the diaper bags, he's got the girls, you know, and it was normal conversation with Shanann. It was, hey, Chris is gonna bring the girls over. Of course, nothing out of the blue. We're playing in the backyard, the girls are running around, they're playing in the little swimming pool.
Was he on time?
Give or take, there was no time.
Well, I mean, he was a little bit later, but he had mentioned when he got there that the girls had just woken up from their nap. And
nap was very important. Shanann
Yeah.
had these girls on a
On a
schedule.
schedule.
Okay, so they were on schedule,
Yeah.
so nothing there was odd. It's just
Nope.
they were taking a nap and then they showed up. Okay.
Yep.
They were-
And we
all their,
were playing water balloons in the backyard. Chris was throwing water balloons. The girls were throwing water balloons. They were all normal kids' birthday party. Nothing crazy, right?
Do you see why I ask these questions? Because on the outside, it's extremely difficult. And because you guys have this really intimate knowledge, this is why it's really an interesting topic. And I'm trying to make sure that we don't skip anything or miss anything. Because I think you guys would have caught it. You know him pretty intimately. So he's out there
If
playing.
anything was off.
yeah.
Say that again?
If anything was off, absolutely, we would have seen something.
Correct. But he would be out there playing with the water balloons, because we talked about it earlier where you're like, he would kind of migrate towards where the kids are at.
Yep.
Okay. So he's out playing with the kids, nothing out of the normal. He was a little bit late, but there's a nap. We kind of know that.
Right. Well, and at the same time, this is the first time we've seen one of them without the other. So we wouldn't have anything to judge off of.
Okay.
But it was still normal, like with the kids. But then when we got to the birthday cake, he was standing in there. He knew that the girls had allergies. She knows more about what their allergies were, but he didn't let them have cake. He didn't let them have certain things because he knew they had allergies, right? We got them popsicles out of the garage because they could have popsicles. And then shortly after the cake, it was time for them to go home because their bedtime is 7-ish o'clock.
Again, on schedule.
On schedule.
So let me ask
100%.
you a question. When you were talking about the birthday cake, when he tells you they can't have it because of their allergies, was it just a sincere, I mean, was there anything about that where you would be like, okay, that's odd, or anything like that?
No, because, I mean, we knew the kids had allergies, and he just said, I'm sorry, they can't have cake, and you could tell that they were disappointed, so that at that point I said, okay, well, we have, just ice pops in the freezer outside.
And was that conversation the same conversation you'd always had with him?
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. Every birthday party's been the same. They can't have the cake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So it was not abnormal by any means.
Yeah, I've replayed that birthday party in my head 1,000 times
Yes.
since then, just to see, was there something that we missed that, we could,
We haven't had his birthday party at our house since then.
Well, so one of the things that I certainly wanted to ask is, obviously at a birthday party you're taking pictures. Did you guys take a bunch of
Yes.
pictures that evening?
oh, yeah.
And tell me anything about the pictures. Was there anything about the pictures that stood out to be different?
No,